If you want to buy a business to live life on your terms, this is the book you should read. I've read a lot of business books and they're either completely academic and not practical at all, or they're super practical but really dry. This book is not like that. It is a great mix of being practical, but also Codie is a little bit sassy and a little bit spicy. It's got some personality. Now, I picked this up the day it came out and read it in a few hours, and I have put together the 5 key takeaways if you are looking to buy a business or try entrepreneurship through acquisition. My favorite quote from this book is, "Your salary will never set you free. Your financial freedom can only come through ownership." And I probably like this quote so much because I say ownership over a salary at least once a week. And this book is divided up into 5 parts. Start here, research, invest, command, harness, which spells out rich, which is very cutesy, very demure.
Very demure, very mindful.
The quote I just read is from Start Here, and that leads us to the first key takeaway. The 9 to 5 with a 401k retirement plan is not the wealth building apparatus that our parents, teachers, grandparents, and employers have led us to believe. It was a solid plan, but in execution, it's not working out that well for everyone. And for some people, it is actually doing the opposite. And instead of helping you build wealth, it is keeping you poor. Now, one of the things you can do about that is become a business owner, specifically a small business owner. When people hear business, they think of a sexy tech startup with lots of VC funding or a giant Fortune 500 conglomerate. But the point that Codie is making here at the beginning of the book is that the Main Street businesses that sell the products and services that you use every day actually make millions of dollars a year. They aren't sexy, they might be boring, and because people have labeled them blue collar, they're often overlooked, but not anymore. There's no such thing as a good business to buy, there's only the right business for you. Key takeaway number 2 is that there is no blanket simple answer to what business should I buy. Buying a business is sort of like dating.
This is my girlfriend, Denise.
Actually, I'm his therapist. We are in absolutely no way dating.
What is considered a good match is subjective and varies from person to person. And in this book, Codie gives you what she calls a deal box to help you narrow down your search to what type of business would be a good match for you based on your zone of genius, your personality, your network, and then matches that to the different attributes of a business. How big does the business need to be? How much profit does it need to be making? What markets or industries might this business be in? And then even details like what kind of seller do you want to work with and what kind of financing options do you need available? Figuring out all of these things will just help you narrow down your search and get a better idea of what is going to be a unique good match for you. There are a lot of M&A experts out there that will say the only way is to do dry cleaning businesses, or the only businesses to buy are vending machines, and blanket advice like that just isn't that helpful. On the topic of deals, a lot of the Main Street businesses that are referenced in this book are ones that have been built up over the last 25 to 30 years. A lot of them are owned by baby boomers who are looking to retire. Instead of handing down their business to the next generation, which is historically what has happened, they are looking to sell. So there is this big generational wealth transfer that's happening right now as all of these businesses are changing hands. So while you can buy a business at any time, if you're looking to buy one in the next couple of years, there's going to be a lot more on the market and a lot more really good deals to be had. This is my not so secret weapon. 60% of all small businesses change hands using the profit payback method. A lot of the time when people go to sell a business, they want to be able to brag that they had a 7-figure exit. Woo! But in reality, that exit, that money is paid out to them incrementally over time. This is related to what is called the profit payback method, or seller financing, seller's notes, or creative financing. Using the profit payback method or seller financing, it is possible to buy a business with $0 down and without a bank loan. You do need a little bit of strategy and some skill in deal craft mixed in there, but it is entirely possible. So the key takeaway here is that business business ownership is a lot more accessible than what a lot of people think, even if you don't have the funds to finance a cash deal. For what you lack in funds, you can make up for in creativity and strategy and still become an owner. The secret rule of ownership is to hire a team that runs your entire business better than you. The idea of hiring a team to run and operate a business for you scares a lot of people that come fresh out of 9-to-5s or have experience with freelancing or solopreneurship. The key takeaway here is just because you bought a business does not mean you have to operate it. And you want to be mindful to not buy yourself a job if that's not what you're looking to do. As far as buying yourself a job, that happens when you buy a business where the owner was also an operator in the business, which is pretty common. If you purchase one of those businesses and the profit margins aren't healthy enough to support paying you, the new owner, plus an operator, the owner, that's you, ends up filling that role and working in the business. So you have effectively just bought yourself a job because that's the only way you can continue to get paid. Now, Codie is very anti-job buying in here, and I think that's fair, but I have seen some cases where this works out really well, where a business owner ends up buying themselves a job and it's in something they really love and it works out great for them. It's something to be mindful of, and you have to decide if it's the right thing for you. If you want to sell your business, make it feel like they're getting a deal so good it's illegal. Key takeaway number 5 is once you buy a business, it is not boots up and coffee time and margaritas on the beach. Although I will endorse taking a week off after you close a deal because closing deals is really stressful. Once you've purchased this business, you've purchased this asset, you want to get to work harnessing its growth potential. And this is a really fancy way of saying you want to zhuzh it up to 10x the profits. If this business were a house, this is the stage where you would be doing renovations. Unlike a house though, humans are involved in this process. And if you don't want all of your employees to quit and your customers to run away, you have to be strategic about how you do these upgrades. You want to zhuzh strategically. The point of doing this is twofold. One, you can make yourself more money, which is really the aim of the game. You want to grow your wealth. And then 2, it gives you the option of selling the business in the future and making even more money off of that sale. It's like flipping a house. Now, in that last chapter, Codie outlines a couple of ways you can do this. There are far too many to cover, but the general theme is modernization and optimization. You want to optimize processes, look at social media marketing, reviews, and in general, using some pretty basic technology to reduce friction in the customer's buying process. It's what I would call a tech injection, and people get a little bit cagey around this stage because they think tech means it needs to be cutting edge, emerging technology with AI and all of these fancy things. But in reality, it could be something as simple as a refreshed website or a website in general. You would be shocked how many of these businesses don't even have a website, or getting some Google reviews, or setting up a way for people to book without having to talk to a human just through a website landing page. It doesn't have to be super fancy. And these basic tech tweaks can easily 10x profits for certain companies in a year. Have you ever noticed that the clearer you are on what you want, the faster and easier it is to get it? No, this is not some tangent on manifesting your dream life, although it could be, but it's not. One thing that humans are universally bad at is explaining why they do certain things. In a split second, when asked, your brain will completely fabricate a reason for why you chose pizza over a hamburger, red pill over blue pill, the white dress over the gold dress. It will make something up. And the scary thing is that you don't even realize you're doing it. You just think you're being logical and explaining your behavior. But when you dig into it, there's usually no evidence behind it. And this can make it really hard to get clarity on what you actually want to do, especially in the case of having this big life change and buying businesses where there's so many unknowns. I have found that an easier place to start is with what you don't want, like an anti-vision or an anti-dream. For me, this all started when I was in a 9-to-5 and I realized I didn't want to be working for someone else for another 30 years and having to beg for promotions and pay increases and having no control over my time and no PTO, all with the faint hope that I might be able to save up enough money one day to retire before I die. And if you've made it to this point in the video, that's probably you as well. So if you found this helpful, please let me know by liking and subscribing. If you're strategizing your next move, you can check out this video right here.